Dear participants, welcome to the last but not the least session of this STC. So for this particular session, we have with us Dr. Bimappa, who is teaching as Assistant Professor in Department of CSE in Triple IT, Sri City, Chittoor, Andhra Pradesh. Dr. Bimappa has completed his PhD in CSE from NIT Karnataka and MTech in Computer Network Engineering from VTU Karnataka. Dr. Bimappa has a total teaching experience of 7 years. His research areas include computer networks, network on chips, simulation, acceleration and parallelization, high performance computing. And Dr. Bimappa has published many papers in reputed journals as well as reputed conference proceedings. So in today's session, I thank Dr. Bimappa for accepting our invitation to deliver the session on NS3 introduction for WSN. So I welcome Dr. Bimappa and request to take over the session.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for warm introduction. So shall I start, sir? Presenting
Yes,
this one?
yes, please, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, all. Welcome to the session or introduction to WSN using anything. So basically, in this session, I will be covering the topics which I am covering as will be one. Basically, it has basically two parts. One is the introduction to WSN. So what is WSN? What are the things are there, and what are the research areas are available in WSN? And the second part is the use of the state-of-the-art simulator tool, that is NS3, to simulate a wireless network. Okay, so how do we simulate WSN networks on NS3? So that is also we'll be seeing. So follow that before discussing on a hands-on session. So I'll be discussing on how to install the simulator tool. So this is just a brief overview what I will be covering in the current session. So moving to the first topic. So basically, before going to WSN, first we'll see what is a wireless network. Basically, when I say a network, when two or more devices connected with the help of network element for the purpose of communication. Okay, so the communication medium, so the way which they connect is different. So there are basically two types. One is connection oriented and another one is connectionless. So connection oriented can be some sort of guided media. So generally we can use a cable. So then another connectionless or unguided media is wireless network. Okay, so what is wireless network? So basically the nodes are interconnected with the help of a wireless device, okay, or wireless communication model, which the communication model will be having its own hardware. So with the help of that, they will be communicating. So what are the types of wireless network generally come across? So these the types mainly categorize based on the range which they are trying to communicate. So basically, you can see on the screen there are 4 types of wireless networks based on the range or based on the communication range. So first one is WAN, so wide area network. So generally, wireless wide area network. Generally, it's generally almost used in a cellular network. So generally used communication medium or technology can be LTE, UMS. So there are differences. They mainly cover at the larger distance. So then comes a metropolitan area network where the distance between the nodes is compared to less wireless communication, which will be not much as a wide area, so it will be lower than that. So then to reduce to communicate with a small area, that is generally a local area where few number of nodes will be communicating with the help of a device communication model such as Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi generally, so each the communication model or communication device has its own standards. So those standards are defined by IEEE. So the way which they communicated, the ways the models are designed, based on that they have certain standards. So those based on those standards they will be working on. So those, for example, for LAN, generally we use a Wi-Fi network where we connect a minimal number of nodes. Okay, so that the standard is IEEE 802.11. So then comes another set of small range of communication can be done between the nodes, where 2 or more nodes can be connected with a small range is Bluetooth or Zigbee or NFC. So these are the another set of another type of wireless network, which the range of communication would be in terms of several meters, right? Okay. So, but coming back to this, so how does the wireless sensor network differ from these type of, okay? So these type of wireless network. So if we consider this, among them, which one will be used for wireless sensor network? So most of the times we'll be using for a wireless sensor network the communication model like a local area network and personal area network. In turn, they will be communicating to the host or the remote machine with the help of base station to transmit it via internet. So that's how generally the wireless sensor network works. Before going to wireless sensor networks, we'll see what is 802.11 model. So generally, wireless LAN mode has two modes. Basically, most common modes are, that is infrastructure mode and ad hoc mode. So basically, in infrastructure mode, where two or more devices will be connecting to the access point through wireless, okay, then that access point is connected to the LAN with a wire. So through with this is generally it's called as infrastructure mode, and another one is called the ad hoc mode. Okay, so ad hoc mode basically what it does. So what I'm trying to tell here is why I have taken. So generally, what are the ways which you can communicate a node? So in infrastructure mode, there will be an access point through which they will be connecting to the internet, the wireless mode. And another one, another type, so let's say communication model 802.11 can be used in an ad hoc fashion. That is, an ad hoc network usually is the one exists for a limited that is limited time between two or more devices. Okay, so that generally there won't be an access point exist in an ad hoc network. So the mobility will be there, and for example, they will be connected for a short range of time. So these two modes are possible using the technology using a wireless LAN mode, that is 802.1, or generally the device we call Wi-Fi, right? So then moving on to so this is just a basic understanding what is wireless network. So then comes what is a wireless sensor network. Before going to wireless sensor network, first we'll see what is sensor network. So as I already said, the network is nothing but connection of two or more nodes, right? So here, sensor network is nothing but a group of specialized sensors which will be having a communication infrastructure, and each sensor will be communicating a data. So each sensor will be communicating data which was monitored by an individual sensor at a different location. So generally, these sensor networks are used for a specialized application. Suppose, for example, if I want to monitor a field, if you want to monitor a battlefield, or if you want to monitor, for example, if you take a current smart cities. So suppose if you want to monitor pollution in the smart cities. So how do you monitor? So we have to deploy sensor over the area. Okay, those sensor will collect the data. So after collecting, sensing a data, it has to be transmitted to the base station for a further analysis, right? For the main station. So for that purpose, we should have a communication infrastructure to communicate the information from wireless sensor to the required base station, right? So how do you communicate? So then comes how do you deploy these wireless sensors? So sensors are deployed in a different fashion. So it is randomly deployed or based on sometimes randomly deployed, or sometimes they'll consider some sort of topology fashion. Based on that also, they will be trying to map. So then coming back to general definition could be, so these communication infrastructure would be wireless. So then it is termed as a wireless sensor network. So basically, wireless sensor network can be defined as a network device that communicate the information gathered from the monitored field through a wireless. So then what are the components involved in wireless sensor network? So as I said already, there should be a sensor exist, and each sensor should have a wireless communication model. Then we should have an open source API model, which in turn extract the information, whichever the information coming from all the sensor node. It has to be taken through an API, and it has to be processed at the web, for example, at a host machine. So to process at the host, we should have a common API. So these are different general procedure involved. So there will be sensor sensing a data from where it is located, and it is transmitting it to the base station. From the base station, it will be go to host for a storage or a viewing or for analysis. So how do you transfer it? So we can use some set of open source APIs which are available. So this is generally a trend followed when any wireless sensor network is implemented. Okay. So for example, in the figure you can see there are a group of wireless networks are deployed. wireless sensor nodes are deployed, and they are transmitting information to the base storage. Okay, in this diagram, so that you can see. Okay, so next, this is just introduction about what is a wireless sensor network. Okay, so next, what is the working process of a sensor network? So generally, what we do, the network, whatever we are saying, it will be embedded in the environment. That is one thing. So generally, you can have a human, you can deploy a set of sensor on a human body, okay, for monitoring different different elements. Okay, to monitor different elements, you can have a set of sensor on a body, and we can collectively communicate to the node. That's can be one type of sensor network. So generally, now we'll try to focus it on the environment. So basically, so the network here is embedded in the environment, and it's connected by a wireless. Okay, nodes in the network generally, nodes, when you are saying the nodes in the network, they are generally equipped with the for example, the sensing and actuation. Okay, to measure the environment. So, for example, if you are deployed a wireless sensor in a network for the fire, for example, if you are forest fire detection, so that time the sensor is capable of identifying fire. Based on that, that has to be communicated to the node. This is one example which we can consider. Okay, so generally, another sense, the WSN is also called a wireless sensor and actuator network. Okay, so next comes, so how do you connect these? So as I said, the network is environment. So the whole network is embedded into the environment, right? So how do you connect them? So for connecting this network, there is no direct connection, right? So we should create a virtual network where they are trying to communicate with the nearest node, so that we can improve the overall communication stability. So another important point which I will be covering is what is a sensor, how sensor look like, what are the sensor constraints. So that also we need to consider when we are designing a sensor network. So before going to that, in the figure you can see I'm collecting information at the server using internet, and the whole nodes are deployed onto the environment, and the information which is collected from the environment, from the sensors, is passed into the internet with the help of base station. Okay. Is there any problem? Excuse me.
Alka Yadav ma'am, I request you to switch off your camera as well as your mic. Please continue, sir.
Okay, thank you. I think there was some noise. You guys are following? Just or
Yes, sir.
is this now, or I think it was long back. Just now. Okay. Fine. Thank you. Okay, let us move on. So what I was trying to tell here was in the figure. So I'm trying to, so there will be a base station which is responsible for collecting information from all the nodes, right? So how do you communicate these nodes? So these nodes, there is no exact location based on connectivity where you can define a predefined topology. Based on the virtual, based on the nodes which comes within the range, based on that we can define a topology, and then we can map our appropriate routing algorithm to improve the overall communication time. That's a general trend we follow in this. Before going to that, so here in the figure you can see, instead of all nodes communicate to the base station, so we can have a different trends, right? So for example, there is an approach called clustering. So basically clustering helps the node lifetime, because for example in the figure you can see, suppose if this node want to communicate to the base station, so it has to communicate with a larger range. So the distance, the amount of distance which you communicate more, the signal means the node power will be utilized more, will be more, right? So to avoid that, the best mechanism is they come across is the one of the common mechanism for a communication purpose, especially is a cluster based. So where you can wherever the networks are deployed in the environment, you can divide those network into set of cluster. Then you can, for each cluster, you can make one node as a head through which the base station, with the node which is near to the base station or which is capable of communicating to the base station as a head within that cluster. Then whatever the nodes comes in that cluster has to communicate to the base station through the cluster head. So that's how a general tendency. Through this, the one way generally we improve the network lifetime. So we'll see that why network lifetime is important. Okay. So this is a one example of sensor network architecture, we can say. So next we'll see what is a sensor. So as I said, Yes.
Please go to the previous slide.
Yeah.
So what is this sync node?
Pardon?
Sync node.
Sync node generally, generally it is, can be a base station, sir.
Base station.
Hello. Which will be bit more power. For example, you can see general term we call sometimes sync node can be a one cluster head which is to be communicating through with the help of the sync is one where the data is collected from the cluster.
So it is a
Is it
base.
clear?
It is a base station within a cluster.
Yes.
Okay.
We can call it is a base station within the cluster. Sometimes the advanced version what they have done, each node act as a sometimes to increase the network lifetime or to increase that sometimes the one node, for example, cluster head can be a sensor node itself. So depends on the capability of the sensor. If it has a more capability sensor compared to other sensor within the cluster, so that time it acts as a base station. It's not actually a base station, just it acts as a base station for collecting. We generally call it as a sync node.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay. So generally what happens, the sync node should energy should be more compared to, means it should have a more capability compared to the other cluster nodes. I hope it is clear, sir. Shall I move on?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. So just moving on to, so as I said, when I say a WSN, so generally we can, there won't be a nominal, there will be a large number of networks nodes are deployed. Okay, so then comes a challenge. How do you connect this? So what kind of network architecture we should use? So as we have seen just now, clustering is one approach where there will be some set of cluster head through which it will be communicating. So then another approach can be a distributed, where there won't be a common cluster head, so where the nodes will be communicating with the nearest node to reach it to the destination. That is, they will among. So like that, there are point to point. There are different types of architectures are there. So that's how we can generally connect in these sensors. So another aspect we can call it as how do you map these nodes? Like we can map generally these nodes in a bus fashion. That is generally how do you connect these nodes wirelessly. So we can have a topology structure that generally how we use in real-time networking. That is the wired networking. So generally what it can be bus or mesh, and the way which they are connected, you can use any one of this. So what we can do, we can generally analyze the performance based on the different topology, based on the deployed environment. You check whichever is suitable. So based on that particular thing, you deploy that particular mechanism onto the individual environment to get a improved performance. That can be done. So that's initial design space exploration we have to do before deploying any network. So that's why we generally do a simulation before deploying any wireless sensor network. That's how the simulation will help in terms of cost and in terms of analyzing the things. So moving on to another important challenge is how do you communicate? So I was talking, right? So one router, for example, how do you node communicate whenever the sense? How do they communicate with the base station or to the nearest cluster head? Or so then comes a concept of routing information. How do you route the information? So there is a what are the regular routing algorithm which we are using? We may not cannot be used because generally the operating things which we need a low operating routing algorithm, low power operating routing algorithm, because the capacity of the sensor node is very low. So for example, the amount of power available is low. So there are certain constraints. So we have to design an effective or low power routing algorithm to increase the network lifetime. So that's another area which we can generally look into. So coming back to here, what is a sensor? So we are talking about sensor, right? So what is a sensor? The components of sensors are shown in the figure. Generally, there will be a sensor which will be sensing information. Okay, then there will be a converter, analog to digital converter, which converts, and then the processing unit is a microcontroller. It will be of it will be in terms of bits. So it will be collecting that information and transmitting that information with help of transreceiver. Okay. So some of the sensors are will be having a power generator to it. So for example, power generator sensor can be a sensor with a solar power. So that time it will be power generated with help of solar and they will be running on. Okay, power unit is one, the kind of battery which will be supplied to the sensor. Okay, these are the basic components of a sensor when you see what is sensor. So next, moving on to how do these node communicate? So the communication, so what we have seen, right, just now cluster based. So communication node can communicate directly to the base station. That is, the node is directly communicating to the base station. So that time it's a single hop communication. Suppose, for example, take this example. For example, there are multiple nodes exist, and this is a base station. So you are traveling with help of multiple hops. So that time multi-hop communication can be happen. So where the information is distributed by this node, and it will ask the neighboring node to send the information, route the information to the appropriate base station. So these are the general communication. Node communication generally occurs in a wireless sensor node. Then comes these are just a basic understanding about what is a sensor network, what is sensor, and how do they communicate. So next, moving on to what are the main part in this the wireless sensor network is a sensor, right? So the amount of time the sensor is working, the overall network lifetime will be good, right? So generally because of their small, the way they deployed into a small the different locations, the amount of power, amount of processing, and memory is low in this node. So these are the basic constraints which are generally exist for a sensor node. So with considering these things, we have to design our WSN in such a way that we should utilize the power, we should utilize the processing time also of a sensor. So we should come up with an effective approach at a low power. So low power, how do you reduce the overall power of a sensor? So sensor, what we can do, we can switch on, we can set a sleep time for a sensor. Okay, that's just switching the nearby sensor. If three or more sensors are done by nearby location, that time you can rotatively sleep on instead of keeping all three on. So what we can do, we can sleep a sensor for a certain amount of time so that the overall network time can be improved. This is the one approach generally they come up with to improve the overall power. So other thing can be, so I was talking about, right? So in the previous slide, so while transmitting information, so if you come up with an effective routing approach, so that will also helps in somewhat the reduction in the, if you reduce the number of communication path, so that time it will overall, for example, if you are transmitting information from one sensor node to the base station, for example, it is taking 100 hops distance. So another improved routing algorithm is passing, for example, I'm giving, so 50 hops. So now we reduce by 50 hops by improved routing algorithm, means 50 hop transmission power is saved. So it will directly affect the directly improve the network lifetime. So like this, different scenarios can be taken. These constraints should be taken into account while designing any sensor network. So that's the one thing you need to remember. So we need to design a network lifetime. So basic agenda. So for example, if you're doing any research oriented to research with respect to WSN, so the basic metrics we'll be using is how do you improve the performance of a network. So for example, it can be network lifetime. So then when you are trying to design any WSN network, wireless sensor network, so what are the major requirements it should have? In the sense it should satisfy. So basically it should be scalable. So as the number of nodes increases into the network, it should be capable of handling, and it should not reduce the overall network lifetime. It should be maintain appropriate network lifetime. So another as I was already pointing out, the WSN use as much as low energy so that the overall lifetime of network will be improved. And last one, suppose we were talking about cluster, right? Suppose sometimes what happens, these are battery operated sensors. So okay, so what will happen in this scenario? Sometimes some networks may die because of power. So what will happen in that scenario? So whole network, suppose if that is a base station, so I was talking about suppose that's a cluster head. So what will happen if that is a cluster head, whole cluster will go in dark, right? So that time automatic self-organization, who will be the next cluster? So automatic optimization self-organization algorithm should be deployed into the sensor. So that's another kind of that's how we are making a stability, or that is we are making a stable, we are making WSN as a stable over the time. So these are the basic thing it should have when you are designing any WSN. So another thing can be what can be done to improve the, I was talking about the network lifetime, right? So how it can be done? So to save energy of a sensor, as I was saying, you can make a sleep as much as possible whenever it is not used, and the transmit and receive generally consumes some amount of power. So yeah, rather than transmitting every time, you use appropriate time to transmit, or only transmit and receive information if it is necessary. So that's the one thing you can consider to improve the network lifetime. So then while acquiring the data, so if you feel like the time of acquiring data, you by managing that is also one area which you can do. The way which you are acquiring data, modifying the things at that level also can be another thing which can improve the overall network lifetime. So basically, I just went through a brief view on what is WSN, right? So next, this is all about the basic requirement. So before moving to the implementation part, that is use of NS3. So what just we'll see what are the applications of where the WSN generally useful. That is. So one thing could be the smart city. Okay. So the application of WSN in a smart cities, if we take, so we can take for waste level monitoring. So we can deploy in a smart city different sensor. So even we can do under tunnel monitoring. So these are applications where we can deploy. Then comes it should have at least a scalability as based on the smart city. So the number of nodes increase, it should not decrease the overall network communication lifetime or network lifetime. So you should take into consideration. For that, we need to have a effective topology, effective communication infrastructure, and also the effective communication routing algorithm at the WSN. So how do you come up with this approach? For that, we need to do a set of studies, right? For that, we generally use some set of simulator tool to communicate. So these are some set of application at a smart level. And apart from this, so initial the sensor wireless network started with a military application, that is in a military application. So from then it started developing adopting on the based on the advantages, started adopting on the environment application. So where you can monitor area, even forest fire direction. There are a variety of applications which you can use at an environment level. Even at a health application level, tracking and monitoring of patients or doctors at a particular hospital, how they are doing, what things are doing, that can be done. So another option can be monitoring the physiological data for a particular patient based on the movement or based on the certain period of time. So putting deploying sensors onto the particular medium and then collecting that information to monitor. So this can be another example. So then habitat monitoring, home applications where we can do home automation. And another important application of WSN would be industrial monitoring. So every industry will having a number of devices. So how the device means the industry will be having for a production unit, there will be different set of units involved. For each unit, observing that units working properly or not, or any other monitoring can be like it can be fire detection at that level, or monitoring the application whether the unit is performing correct or not. At a different level, we can collect the information at the industrial level. These are some set of applications where we can use WSN. Okay. So if you, based on this, what are the research topics in which wireless sensor networks available? So one is the coverage and connectivity. So based on the statistic only you can take, that is the first one is the coverage and connectivity. So coming up with the effective coming up with an effective coverage and connectivity algorithm, WSN could be the one area which you can work on. Then clustering in wireless network. So still the clustering has not stable enough. So there are a variety of research have been proposed. They be different. How do you switch a cluster head? How do you communicate within the cluster effectively? So in that area also you can look into it. And third one could be the data aggregation. Okay. So data aggregation in wireless networks. So data aggregation is an important phase where if you appropriately aggregate the data, so you can improve some sort of network lifetime. So that level you can look into this. And third, lastly, mobility management is another area which you can look into this. Okay. So these are the topics which you can work on. So next, this is just an overview I gave. So what is WSN? How WSN? What are the components of WSN? And then the applications of WSN. So these are the things. So then we'll move. If you have any doubts, we'll take. Then we'll move to the implementation part. So how do you implement simple networks, wireless networks in NS2? That we'll look into it. So yes, I finished in 30 minutes. Fine. Okay. So next 60 minutes would be the next 50 minutes would be the implementation of sensor network using NS3. Okay. Basically, if you ask, there is one question, I guess. Okay, Rajesh, what do you mean by scalable and scalability? Scalable and scalability. See, basically, when I say scalability is nothing but the network. Suppose, for example, what is the capacity of a node of a network, which can change in a size. So for example, initially I have 100 nodes. Okay, you have deployed a particular WSN network with 100 nodes. So it is giving some quite performance, right? So then you increase the number of nodes. Okay, thus we are getting a same performance. It means that for the same network, if you increase the number of nodes, that the overall the network lifetime is similar. No. So sometimes what happens if you have an effective as the node size increases, the some what I can say WSN performance might degrade due to the arrangement. So that time what we need to improve upon that. So whichever WSN you do, it should be capable of adopting the change. That is the scalability, right? Okay, next we'll take so how do you simulate? Next comes a question, how do you simulate these environments? So then comes, there are a variety of simulators available to simulate wireless networks, okay? So generally among that, the most commonly used is a network simulator, okay? Basically the network simulator has earlier NS2 and now they have come up with a new version, that is NS3. But NS3 is not the extended version of NS2. It's a completely different, this built from the scratch. Okay, so just to improve the overall simulation performance, there were some drawbacks which were there. To overcome that, they have deployed and they came up with complete. They deployed open source network simulator from the scratch. That is the NS3. The same organization has proposed it. So the simulation of wireless node, just we'll see what is NS2, how do you install NS2, that's the second part. So basically this NS3 is written in C++, okay. So we use, they use some set of scripts to run the C++ program, that is they write some set of scripts in C++ and Python depending on the need to make a compatibility between the objects and for example for the building purpose. So it's basically written in C++, but even we can write a script in C++ also or Python also, suppose if you are designing. So next, what is the capability of a simulation? So we can simulate a small networks or complex scenarios also. Okay, why NS3 if you ask? So it provides a wide range of parameters which you can set starting from the communication level. For example, if you take the overall the network architecture, if you say, so at each level, at the application level, at the transport level, so at each level you can modify, even you can, so generally it is a parameterized, so it has a more huge parameter where every design constraints have been considered when you want to simulate. So it has a huge, so that generally we consider. So I'm using this from past 5-6 years, so NS2 and NS3. So this is one good tool to use emulate your concept. Suppose if you have come up with a different clustering mechanism, so how do you implement that? So for checking whether it is suitable for example, I said, right, so whether it is a low power, whether how much power it is consuming, whether the network lifetime is improved by the new clustering mechanism. So those to check this, we cannot directly buy a hardware sensors and deploy test, right? So so best mechanism is to simulate the concept, check it for a different set of scenarios. Then if you feel like whatever the expected based on the concept, if the results are matching based on the several iteration of the simulation, then we can say that approach is good, that algorithm or that method is good. So that's generally the research will practice this. So for that we need to have some set of hands-on or simulated tools. So for that generally there are a variety of tools are there. So in that NS3 is one of them. And one more advantage of NS3 is even it supports the emulation where you can embed the NS3 into a particular set of hardware like Raspberry Pi in trying to communicate. So another thing is can be real-time schedule where the NS3 directly communicate with the other real-time systems. Where, for example, if you give IP, when you are running a simulation, if you give IP address of another system where NS3 is running, so you can directly communicate. So even not only the regular simulation, so it has moved from simulation to real-time simulation capable level. So even NS3 supports that. For that, you have to configure appropriately with a host machine and a remote machine. Okay, real net that is real system is nothing but a real network device can emit and receive a NS3 generated packet. Okay, so it is more or less like kind of real time. So quite advanced research is going in. So in NS3, you can, for more information about NS3, what is going on, what are the new models are deployed, you can just go to NS3R. So there generally you get much information. So before going to the what is NS3 installation, just I mentioned what is NS3. Okay. So how do you install the NS3? So currently the presentation I have made with respect to the installation with the help of for operating system for Ubuntu. For Windows, I have just I will share with while sharing the resource material. So just we'll look into what are the before installing, what are the requirements your system should have. So for installation instruction, you can go to NSNM or in that installation instruction here. From there only I have copied the steps just to make it easier. So what are the prerequisites required when you are installing a NS3? So first you should have a C++ compiler, and also you have a Python library and Python compiler. Okay. So basically NS3 uses a Python script to compile and run your whatever a C++ code which we write for a particular set of simulation. That for that purpose we'll use NS3 using a Python script. Okay, so these are the basic prerequisites which generally followed. So the Git and tar, these are some sort. Tar is for unzipping an element, and Git is for accessing a recent version of a NS3 from a GitLab. So it's just a version control mechanism through which you can access a latest code or latest update of NS3 source files can be accessed through Git. So these are the things which should be installed when you are doing. And how do you download the source file and install? So you can download the source file from the website, from the NSM website, or from the NSNAM website using a Git, that is a version control. Another one is a Python based tool called Bake. Okay, so two tools are there, but among that I suggest to use a Bake. With the help of Bake, it can directly install. It can directly, once you build a Bake, automatically it will install NS3. So no need to again explicitly install NS3 when you are doing with a Git. So I suggest to use the installation, and these are the commands which we generally follow. The first one, just I'm downloading a Bake from NSM.org. Then I'll just go to the Bake. Then I'll check whether whatever the Bake I download is correct or not. After that, then we configure our Bake to a appropriate NS3. This is the version which I'm downloading. So you have to mention which version it has to download. This NSM will be having a list of versions, right? So every time, whenever they modify, whenever they add a new library module, so they release it as a new version. So a current version I'm doing is NS-3.31. So here what I'm doing, I'm just, it's a kind of a library. From the library I'm downloading into my local folder. Okay. So I'll go inside that folder. Then I'll check whether the Bake what I download is correct or not. So how do you check? So what happens sometimes while downloading, some files are corrupted, then you will not be able to check, right? So for that, the build.py checks whether it's a download appropriately or not. So then after successful check, so you have to configure the NS3 saying that next you download this file. So configure just mentions that which version you want to download. So I'm for a Bake, I'm configuring NS3 3.1. So after that, so next, when you call this Python file with a download, it will download the file, download the version of a NS3 tool from the whichever you configured before. So once you download it, this is a download of source file. After that, you have to build the NS3. So for that, we'll be building. So these are the steps which will take some amount of time. So, but the build will take some more time. So it will take more than 5 minutes. Okay. So after doing this, you'll be successfully extracted the NS3. So once then inside a Bake folder. So for example, initially we are in Bake, right? So here you can see. So I was in Bake. Then in sources, suppose if you want to see what is the source code of NS3, you have to go to source folder inside Bake. So there you'll be finding a folder called NS3 3.1. So you have to go inside that. After that, you have to configure the NS3, then WAF build to build the NS3 so that you can use that build for running your examples. Okay, so this is the second part, that is 5, 6, 7 will take around 10 to 15 minutes depending on your system configuration. So once after a successful build you got, so how do you run a simple example? Okay, there is a tutorial folder inside a source NS 3.31. So from the source, what we can do, we can take, we can see some set of examples. In that tutorial session, if you go, there are different set of examples which are there to just to connect a simple network, then wireless network, then mixed network. How do you connect wired and wireless network? So these are the different scenarios he has given for introductory. So I'll be covering as a today's session. So I'll be covering those things, how it is organized. Suppose if I want to modify, how do I modify based on my topology? So what are the things to be considered? Those things I will be covering in the today's session. So as an introductory part. So how do you run an example? Generally, so for example, when multiple, just to touch upon this. So when you have a set of C files, so generally, how do you generate an object file? So generally we use a make, right? So we use a make to generate, right? So object file from a set of source file. So similarly, there is another tool called WAF. So it's a kind of more speed. So it works when you do a make, so you can do a parallel make, parallel compiling, those things generally done. But apart from that, WAF is another compiling tool, so which will help you to build a object file out of a source file. So WAF is nothing but another. Just what I'm doing, I'm just generating from the source file what I have configured. I'm just building a object file, so which I can use for executing an example. So whenever you make a change, so every time you have to make. Why? Because we are making a changes to the source file. For example, take in NS3 there is a network file. Suppose if you have deployed some module, network module, or suppose if you have deployed some routing model, so then every time you have to build that particular thing so that new object file can be used for execution. Okay, so whatever mode generally we do, right? So whenever you write any program, if you make a changes, compile, and then we use. After compiling, we generate object file that will be used for running. So same thing is happening, but here there will be one file. Here we'll be having a number of files. So that's how the building is done. So once the building is successful, WAF build. So how do you run an example? So to run an example, this is a command .waf. Okay, to run any the network simulation network, what we'll be doing? --- run is a command. This is a command which will be taking. Then the second part, you have to give an input file. So then comes, if you see here, when I'm passing, every time when I'm passing a file to it, I'll be not passing an extension, just I will be passing a file name. Okay, the name of the file is first, but actually if you see what is a network file, it will be first.c. We'll see, it will be coming, it will be more clear when you're executing. But as of now, you see, if you want to run any example, .waf -run, and you have to input the source file which you want to execute. Okay. In terms of NS3 fashion. So now we'll see what is a source file, how do you create a simple network, those things. See. So when I execute this, so here you can see it is first one is just communicated between two nodes. Okay, so there will be two point-to-point nodes, which one will be sending the information, another one will be receiving the information with the different ports, and that is a time duration it is given. So when two nodes are communicating, so then another important thing which I wanted to tell here is, so when I say node, when two nodes are communicated, so in simulation, what are the things you need to mention? One is you need to mention the bandwidth. Another one is you need to mention a delay of each link. So whenever the connection channel is occurred, so you have to mention the delay for the particular channel. Why? Because we are making simulation, so we can take certain set of assumption of the values from the base paper or some sort of set, you update it and adopt your new routing algorithm or new topology which you want to simulate, or new network which you want to simulate, that you can change accordingly. So then comes how do you change and how do you map. We'll see that in detail. So as of now, just to download and install, so we'll be doing these are the steps. So if you follow these steps as it is, so it will take around 10 to 20 minutes just to build. After that, if you execute, you will execute. So then this is a one part of installation. Okay. Then second part which I'm thinking to cover is, so how does the NS3? So for example, now what we are doing, suppose if you want to simulate any network, so for that we need to change certain things in the simulator, right? So for that we need to understand how exactly where I need to make a changes for a particular thing. So for that you need to understand what is the directory structure of NS3. So basically the directory structure in the sense how many different folders are there and what are the importance of each folder. So basically the source folder, okay, the source folder is the one, all the library files, all the network creation files, objects files, whatever the classes are defined, so everything will be present in the source file. Whenever you execute, that will be built, okay. So when you build, so this source file will be taken to build, okay. This example directory will be having a set of example which you can go through it one by one just to understand, okay. Then there will be some set of contribution will be done by a researcher over the time. Then it is verified, then they will add that as a library into this, okay, into a contributor. And Scratch is a folder where, so whenever you want to try any new program, so you can create us in a Scratch folder, okay. So that's the best approach. So Scratch is one, when you are trying to create any new file or new topology, create it inside that file. The extension you have to give for a file is .cc, okay. The script input which you are giving is .cc. This is just an introductory I am doing. So this is at the directory level. So now as a programmer, so how do you see the whole network simulation? So NS, so network simulation, how do you see? So when I see this, there will be set of nodes, right? Okay, each nodes will be what? Connected, right? Connected to another node, right? Yes. So now if you see, there is an abstract class called node, okay? So what are the properties of node? Okay, so when I say node, it will be having a name, right? Node name. Then it will be having what type of node it is. Okay, how do you decide the node is wired or wireless? So any node can have a both wired and wireless model, right? So for that, so generally node, whenever you create a node object, so that's a one object which will be, for that object you have to add a net devices. So there is an object called another called a net device. So for example, when I say sensor node, okay, sensor node, okay, note this. For that, if you want to communicate, I have to add a word wireless, right? So Wi-Fi model I have to add. Suppose if it is a wired, then I have to add a Ethernet model, right? So how do you add these models? So in the programmatic perspective, I'm telling here. So this is a one object. Node is an object. For that, I'm creating one more the inherent object called net device. So in the net device, you can mention what type of node it is. So whether you want to communicate in Wi-Fi mode or you want to communicate in Ether mode. So for that, you have to call this object. Suppose if there are 10 nodes created, you have to call a net device or passing a parameter as a Wi-Fi to each device. So then only each device will be having this model. So then after that, if you want to communicate this particular node with all the nodes, so you have to create a channel object. Channel object is a one, which generally in Ethernet, it is a bus, right? So in Ethernet, it will be taken as a bus. So a bus will be shared among all the 10 nodes. The channel object will be used for this, okay? So similarly, the channel will help for, channel is an object which help to maintain the information of a communication between the node, and that will be, so here if you see underline how it is mapped, so every, at every point in a time, whatever the events occur from the node level, at the application level, at the transport level, everything will be recorded. So each, just by looking just node looks, there are wide range of attributes are there at a node level. So node is a one object in that you have to add a device to it, you have to add an application to it. Application in the sense, suppose you are currently doing sensing information, right? So think that the common application we can have a sensing information where node generates. So you can write a small application on top of node when at a random time the data should read some random data. So that can be done. So how do you do that? So at the node level, you can create your own application, generating a data at a random time. That can be create own application. Or so eco service means sending one information from one node to another node. So generally we call that as an eco service. So like that we can create an application on top of a node. So these are the basic abstract type which you need to know before doing any simulation model. So now if you see the abstract types is node is there. Node is nothing but it will be having the details about the node, and each node should be mentioned what is the type of node, and you have to attach the net device. Net device nothing but it's a communication. So communication net device would be what? It would be an example of, second. So it would be an example of what? Wi-Fi, or it can be CSMA we call here. So CSMA is nothing but Ethernet. So another word that is Ethernet, and another one would be point to point. So currently the NS2 support these three things. That is Wi-Fi it supports. Suppose if you can create a Wi-Fi node, then you can appropriate execute. Let's say if you suppose if you want to do Ethernet, that wired mode, then you have to use a you have to create a node object. For that node object, you have to call a class, okay, the sub object of that device type CSM. So that time, how CSM works, Ethernet. So all the working principle of Ethernet model. So what are these? So these are one libraries. So Wi-Fi is a library in the sense the way the Wi-Fi works, right? So those are hard written codes. So whenever you add a Wi-Fi, the device, when it is simulating, where it will take and it will run this particular model. So that's how at a programmer perspective they have made. So as of now, at the beginner, or if you are doing any simulation, what you can do is just understand what is node, what is channel, what is net device. So channel is nothing but just generally we use for Wi-Fi. Okay, so it will just create a communication channel for the set of nodes involved in the network. Okay, this is just understanding. So just to run, so once again I'm just mentioning this, just to run we are taking this example. So this is just an understanding of what is NS and how NS3 is designed. So what are the things you need to remember? Okay, the same thing which I mentioned just now was the abstract type. These are the component we generally call. So those are node. So nodes are implemented using NS3 node. So how do you implement? Suppose if you want to create a node, so it is present in a NS3 class. So as a one class called NS3 node class. Okay, so generally we use a term called container. Okay, generally if suppose if you have 10 nodes, okay, you can deploy this all node to a 10 node called a container. So you can, instead of calling one node at a time, you can call a node container and assign 10 node to it. So if all the nodes are same, then node container will be having the same property. For example, if you make Wi-Fi, so everyone will be Wi-Fi. So those things, modules which you want to add. So that's a one thing. So about a node, suppose this is a class which you can access when you want to create a node. And so net device is nothing but, as I said already, so it's a device which is added to the each node. So how net device, basically it implements the functionality of send and receive. So how do you send and receive? There are two ways, right? You can do a point-to-point. So what are the three options NS3 supported is 3. Wi-Fi device you can do. CSMA is nothing but this is the Ethernet. Okay. So the point-to-point net device is another one, which just node point-to-point communication between two nodes, right? So that is a point-to-point. That's also can be possible. Okay, we'll see that first example is a point-to-point. We'll see that how it is done. So I'll be covering next about the how do you write a simple NS3 simulation code. So generally channel is nothing but the connection. So we'll be creating a channel. So where the channel will be having a set of nodes. Okay, what are the nodes created? For that the channel will be deployed. So for how do you call a channel? So NS3. So what are the types of channel you can do? So already the communication way is 3 types, right? So those type of channel you have to call. Suppose if you have created a node device with Wi-Fi, then you have to call YNS Wi-Fi channel. This is a variable we will be using to assign a channel to a particular node. Okay. So what are the so sometimes what happens, each node can have 2 net devices, right? So where wired each node can wireless communication and you can communicate wired. So wirelessly it's communicating with one network, wired with a LAN, right? So that can be done. So even node can have more than one communication, send and receive, different types of send and receive. This is just a component. And another thing, how do they communicate? There is another class called a packets. So in that packet class, why I'm just covering these things is basically generally when you are trying to modify or when you come up with a concept, so you can have a effective packet routing, right? So you have to understand how the packet. So you have to check if you made a modified at the packet layer. So generally whatever the IPv4 packet will be there, IPv6 packets are there. So if you have come up with a new communication mechanism, right? New packet mechanism. So if you want to modify, you have to go to this class, okay, check that particular file, add your particular new packet type, and then call that particular packet type when you are simulating. So that's how general trend. So most common headers to a packet can be, suppose when you are creating packet, you can give a packet header IPv4, R, and these are Ethernet header. So these are different types of header. I will not go in detail. Then I was talking about application, right? Application is another component. So I can implement eco service. So eco service in the sense, each node will send a data to another node. It will send a eco service. So you can have a randomly generating a data. So for your sensor, right? So you can have an application which is means you have to write a small set of code how to generate a random on top of each node. Okay, by giving a flexible amount of time. So these are a set of component at an abstract view which I gave. So that is all about NS3. So what we see now, what is NS3? We have seen what are the components of NS3, right? Okay. So next thing is then how do you analyze the result? Then comes, suppose think that you understood and you written the result. So how do you analyze the results? Suppose you did a simulation for an amount of 0 to 100 nanosecond, okay, between 100 nodes. So to observe the statistic, so how do you do that? So NS3 offers a tracing mechanism where you can trace which node at what time, what packet has sent from where to or to which node, and which transmission medium it has used, transport layer protocol, whether UDP, TCP. So those things, everything can be monitored using a tracing. So what it generally does, so you can generate a tracer using in NS3. Whenever it does a simulation, it will generate a trace file. Okay. Generally, when you are doing a simulation, you can generate a trace file. So you can use that trace file for your statistic, how it is work. Suppose if you are done at a routing level, you can extract the information whatever done at a routing level. If you are done at a communication level, if you want to calculate what is a band, so those things generally you can try to calculate. So to do that, for example, general simulation, if you are done, if you are written script and if you do a simulation, it will give some set of results. What are the, how many, from where to where it went, how many bytes communicated, what is the time. But apart from that, if you want in detail the network statistic, so then you have to add this statement, the packet capture statement. So NS3 device helper, there is a device, NS3 has a helper. So helper will enable a user to use other set of features. So at each level, so node also has a node helper where you can use a different functionality other than the basic functionality of that. So helper is generally, device helper is the one which will be using. So that is net device, right? So device helper will be using to create the node, right? So create a trace file. So generally, what is a trace file? Trace file is called represented with an extension called .pcap. So basically, pcap is a packet capture which captures all the statistic or communication happened for a particular network. So how do you enable that for a simulation which you are doing? So you have to enable. So for example, I am using point-to-point. Currently, I am using point-to-point communication. So that is point-to-point in the sense I have created only point-to-point. Means there are only two nodes. So for that dot enable. So for this particular network type which you are communicating, it will capture all. So you can write enable capture all. So if you do that, it will capture all the statistics. Suppose if you want to capture a specific node, then you have to mention enable pcap bracket the file name where you want to store, then you have to mention the node ID. So node 0, node 1. If you mention that, even you can individually capture at a particular node what is occurring at that level. So then comes where it will be stored. So whatever the statistic is there, that will be stored in the .pk file, right? So whatever the input you give for this particular function called, this is here if you can see. So in this particular function, so my first, so it will create a file called my first .pcap inside your folder. So it will create my first .pcap as a file. So whatever the name you give, that name will be there. So it will be creating a file. So then comes how do you visualize the information? So when you see that, when you open the pcapture, it will be very difficult because starting from the each packet, for the packet, what is the time it went, what is the time, and how many nodes are there, how many links are there, what is the speed at that time when you are transmitting. Okay, so everything will be recorded. It's very difficult to extract that, right? So how do you visualize that? So that can be done. How do you see that, display that particular thing? So visualizing the packet capture can be done using a set of trace tools. So already most commonly used trace tool is Wireshark. So this Wireshark tool, what it does, it takes the input of this file, the pcap file, it will be taken, and it will display, for example, in the appropriate fashion. We'll see that. We'll also show that how Wireshark shows. So this is the one thing you need to remember whenever you want to trace what is happening. So you have to add this line of code to your particular example. So this one line, then you can call, you can pass that output file of a, what I can say, my pcap into the visualization for a Wireshark. Okay. So next, second part, so how do you visualize? So next comes, so whatever I'm doing here is I'm just running a command, right? So I'm running a command and I'm executing, I'm getting a result, and result can be on the terminal or it can be a pcap file, right? So suppose if you want to visualize, means live, how it is moving, the information is moving between the node. How do you do that? There is another application which you need to install, is called NetAnim. So Wireshark is for checking a statistic of each transaction, whatever the transaction happened for that particular topology. And NetAnim is to visualize how the overall, the PCAP file is there, right? How it is running. So overall visualization will be done. For that, you have to enable in your code saying that animation interface, you have to enable an interface for your code saying that what is the XML. So this XML you have to pass it to the tool called, what is the tool? Tool is NetAnim. So NetAnim tool, what it does, it generates an animation when you do a simulation. So this code has to be present in your source code when you are running. So whatever the topology you designed, so if you are executing that, that will be fed into this particular thing. So now what I did, so this dot, so the animation is XML file which will be given as to the animation. So NetAnim. So NetAnim, what it does, it shows the visualization, that is live, how it is information moving between the nodes, how nodes are moving, what is communication is happening. So but here if you see here, it is called offline. Okay, it's called offline. Why? Because the NetAnim. So after the simulation, XML file is generated, right? So that XML we are giving it to animation for viewing it. Means already simulation is done. Based on the statistic, it is drawing the pattern, how the nodes are moving, what are the nodes. And another, suppose if you want a live, so when a simulation is happening, so if you want that moment itself, so you can use another tool called PyVis, that is Python based, Python visualizer. So for that we need to do, before compiling, we have to add the, we have to enable a Python visualizer inside our code. Okay, then you have to compile. Before configuring that, you have to enable a visualizer. So then automatically it will come. So the best approach would be what I'm saying, you can use a NetAnim where we can take that XML file, draw the statistic, understand the statistic. So even apart from the visualization, it will give the statistic, and it also will give the graph based on length, whatever the time, based on the duration. So you can give, you can create a graph using NetAnim. For that, GNU plat is involved. So now if you see, what are the tools we saw? NS3, just to summarize, NS3, then we saw Wireshark, okay, then we saw NetAnim, right? So in this, NS3 is nothing but main, what it does a simulation. So if you want to see what are the communication happen, so you have to generate a PCAP file, okay. That file should be fed into Wireshark to check the statistic. So from a particular node, how many packets, what is the packet type. So you can check using Wireshark only. You cannot check here because if you open this, another tools are there. There are a variety of tools are there to understand the trace. So best thing I suggest is Wireshark, use of Wireshark. So apart from this is for statistic. Suppose if you want to see a visualization, how this simulation is, for example, how the nodes are communicating. So how the nodes are communicating, transmitting, where they are moving. Suppose if you are kept a mobility on for a node, how they are moving. To visualize that, so you can use a NetAnim. So these are the 3 tools you should remember. So now, before moving on to a first example, okay, this is a first Python script. Just I will zoom in a bit. Yeah. So it's a CC file, right? So the extension of input you are giving is a CC file. So initially you have to give a libraries which will be helping for a simulation. Okay. So the core model is the one which will enable for the models which are required at each network level. Like for example, if you are implemented TCP/IP, so for example Ethernet, so when you are using a TCP/IP inside that, okay. So that time how so what are the maximum possibility core models are here. So then network model which will enable for a different set of node. The interface model, so when you add, right, so Wi-Fi interface, when you add a channel interface, for that this model will be used. And then you have to mention what type of network you are creating, whether point-to-point or Ethernet type, wired or wireless. So then application model will create whatever the input you give object to this. So it will run on the top of that. So for example, we will take eco service and sending a data from one node to another node. Okay. So these are the object file you have to mention when you are executing. The second part, so then generally we start with the main, and we are using a namespace main, okay, just to bring all the things at one place, the global namespace. So then after that, some of the command pass arguments. So where if you want anything to be printed on the screen, you can write here. We will not go. So before starting, you have to set a resolution. I'm saying a NS. Okay, this is the first part. Then here the main part. So now here see, I have two nodes, right? So instead of calling each node, I called a class called a node container, and a variable type is node. So how many nodes I want? So you can call a create. So in this node, there is a create function. So it will create a two nodes, right? So how many variable we pass? So this will create two nodes. Okay. Currently, what I'm doing, I'm just taking two point to point. Okay, one node. This you can take one node. Okay, and adding a device. So a net device. So net device in the sense, how do they communicate with the Ethernet? For example, if you take Ethernet, this is CSMA, and then for a point to point, no need to add a channel. Okay. So next for a point to point means here. So you have to mention what is the delay and what is the bandwidth for that particular channel and what is the delay. So how do you set the attribute? So now I created a point to point helper. So it will create a point to point network. For that, I'm assigning what is the bandwidth required whenever you are communicating point to point. So set a device attribute I have mentioned. So these are the two attributes which will be using mentioning a data rate. So you can vary according to your need. That's the second part. So what we did, we created a network. Okay, and network type I have taken is what? Point to point helper. Suppose if I am taking CSMA Ethernet, then what I will be writing? I will be writing here CSMA helper, the new object. Then I will assigning what is the data rate for that particular thing. That's after creating a number of nodes. Then second pass is we have to add a device, right? So net container devices. So I'll be adding a point-to-point installation to this particular node. Means the node should work in the point-to-point fashion. For that, whenever net device container you are trying to add, so we'll be adding devices. So now the device is ready with these devices will be added to each node installed. Okay, point-to-point will be installed. So then I'm calling a internet helper stack where it will be capable of running a node. For each node, I'm adding an internet stack. Right, so they work in the kind of real-time network. So first I created a node, then I assigned two nodes. Then what I did, I assigned the channel bandwidth and length. After that, I have to add a device container. So that next, what is the need of device container? Is because we need to add whether it's a wired or wireless, right? So now currently it's point to point, right? Generally we use a CSM. So next. Then after doing this, next stage is we have to assign an address to it. So for that, I will be using a IPv4 address helper. Okay. So I have created an object. Okay. I will set the address base as, so you have to mention the network address. Okay. So for example, network address and a masking value. So for example, if you take 10.1.10, right? One node will be this, and subsequent, if 4 nodes are there, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 in that particular container. So if you have 2, so you have to mention 2 different addresses, 2 different networks. Now it will be having 10, 1, 0, 1. So those values will be there. So once you decide, so now we have to add a IP address is defined, then you have to add an interface to it. So what I will be doing, I am assigning a address to it. So that's what I am doing here. Then second part, once you assign the IP address, IP interface container you added, so then we have to run application on top of it. So what is the application? Eco service. Eco service means sending information from here to here. So for that, you have to use a eco service helper. For everything, every service, you have to call a helper and appropriate object, variable you have to create, variable of object. Then you have to assign a value to that particular object. Okay. So then this is the part where I'm just deploying an application. Okay. So application, what I'm saying, eco service helper, eco server means eco server in the sense of whatever you send information, just they send and communicate. So I'm running at a port. So you can deploy an application whichever you require, you assign a port. So that port will be assigned to that particular device. Okay. So the server is assigned, right? So how do you assign a server? Server, for example, in this case, so in this case, for example, this is 0 node and this is 1 node, right? Okay. Which one you want to make a server, that you have to mention. So what I'm saying, take this server app, eco server, install nodes.get. So nodes.get 1, if I say, it will take a first node and it will install into that. So I'm installing at the node 1. So it will be installed here. Okay. Okay. It will be installed at the server will be here and client will be here. So when it will start, server start time you have to give. So I'm just giving 1 to 10 seconds. Okay. So then once you deployed server onto a network, right? So after connecting, client also need to be there, right? Who has to request. For that, the UDP echo client I will be using to just execute. Okay. So then for the after setting a client, so I'm setting it to a get address 1, right? So then the second part, you have to mention the attribute, how many packets it want to communicate, client. So you can mention, always you have to mention the number of packets to be communicated between these two nodes, right? So that you can mention at a echo client at a set attribute. So I'm just giving 1 packet to be communicated. And next, what is a time interval for between the packets, right? That is, then what is the packet size? So that I will be mentioning at the client side, client application side. So then I have to install, right? This particular thing I have to install on certain node, right? So what I'm doing, echo client dot install. This particular thing I'm installing at a node dot get 1, 0 I will make it. So when I do get 0, this will become a client and this will become server. So this is how you can choose your node as a client and server, and then you can add upon it. Okay. So then once you successfully added, so then give the timer to the client. So this is all about setting up. So for setting up, what we did, we created a node. Okay. Then we created a type of connection. Okay. Topology. Okay. Then we added a device type. So what is a device type? Point to point, right? So then we assigned the address right, for third part. After assigning address, then you have to create an application so that which can run on each device. So for when you create an application, you should mention how many clients are there, how many servers are there. How do you map and install? So you can install like this. Okay. So how do you install? So nodes.get gives that particular node. So once you successfully done, I will be doing what? Simulation.run. So this is what I did just now. It is just for running a point-to-point network. Just I will show the simulation part of this. Give me a moment. I think, how many times? 15 minutes, right? Okay, we'll try to finish it. Okay. So I'll just share my screen. Give me a moment. Any doubt here till now? So actually, before starting the simulation, I thought of giving clear understanding of how the simulation is built, so that when you are trying to build, you can remember these things. Okay. So just I'll share my screen with. I think it's not visible. One second. Just zoom in. Actually, it is very difficult to cover most of the things in. So I'll try to map this. Actually, usually I'll take this whole thing for a one-day session, but somewhat I thought of giving. Sorry, might have went a bit fast. Anyway, I'll share this material. Okay. Just I will show the simulation workflow. Okay. See, when you do the bake install, so these are the things will come into picture. So there will be bake folder. Okay, this sources folder which will be having your NS3 code. So you have to go to source, right? CD source. Okay. Then type ls. So in that NetAnim is there. NetAnim for visualization, and this is for NS3, right? So what I will do, NS3. I'll go inside NS3. Okay. So in NS3, there is a folder called scratch. So whenever you are doing any modification, you have to go to this folder and install. So currently I showed one example, right? That is present in example. So what I will go, I'll go to and I'll show it. Example in tutorial it is there. So in tutorial first.cc. Okay. So I'll just copy this first.cc into scratch. Okay. First.cc into scratch folder. So before modifying, don't touch this tutorial part. So it will be useful for reference. So what I will do, okay, in scratch I'll just copy the first file. So now it is copied. So I'll just move to I will just move to Scratch folder. Okay. So I hope you guys are following. So I'm just moving. So now what happened? The first CC has come right here. The first CC. So I will just open that. I have opened here. If it is here. So you can use any editor for modifying this. So I'm just going in Scratch. I'm just opening this. So this is a code which I explained just now. So what I'm doing, I'm connecting two nodes point to point, and the network masking address is network ID is 1.10. So this will be having 0 and this will be having 1. So we seen this, right? Okay. So these are the things. I suppose instead of one packet, just I'll keep it one and run and show you. So how do you run an example? So whenever you are executing, you should be present in this directory. One more thing you should remember, you should be present in this directory. So how do you run? So as I already told, you have to just call wrap. Okay. Where is the location of the file? So first, right? So what I did, so the wrap run scratch first.cc, right? So if I do okay, I'll just take third one, I think. It's correct only. Okay. One second. Okay. One more thing which I just said. So there should not be .cc extension. This was a mistake generally we do. We should not mention the file name extension. Just mention the file name itself. So that's what I did. So once I done this, it will build the file. Okay. So it will take whatever the changes we made recently. Those things it will build. Okay. Then it will link it to an appropriate directory for execution purpose. So it will take some time. When you are doing first time, it will take some time. So now you can see the output. So at a time 2 seconds, the client sent 105 byte to this at a port. So this is the operation. So when does the server receive? Server received at this particular time. So you can see the nodes, right? So it's 1.1 is the client and server is 1.2. So those appropriate and the network ID we saw, right? So the communication and the port number. So this is a simple point-to-point simulation. Then one more thing I wanted to show you, how do you visualize this? So to generate a packet, I will take one more example. I will take third.c. Okay, just to touch upon. Okay, same thing, we should not mention the extension, just you mention the file name when you are running. Okay, there's another program which I have taken. Okay. So here what I have done, just I'll open that file and show you just in a brief time. Okay, this one, right? So this third.cc is a third port. So here what I have done in this particular thing, if you see here, the topology, network topology designed was there are 4 Wi-Fi nodes. Okay, among that one is access point, and this access point is connected point to the line. So if you see here, the representing perspective, if you see here, it is like, so there are 4 nodes in the Wi-Fi nodes and 1 LAN node, and they are connected with the access point point to point. Okay, here there are 4 nodes, one is access point, and here 4 nodes, they are connected by line. So it's like a mixed. So now if you are doing wireless sensor network, that time you have to use only a Wi-Fi model. So how do you do that? Just I will touch upon that. So here, if you see here, how many nodes I am creating point to point. So how many are there point to point? Only 2 nodes are there. So I have to mention 2. So I created a 1 node container for point to point. So another node container for CSMA, right? So how many nodes are there? CSMA means wired CSM. So in this anyway we will not consider it as a, because it will be having both a device. So only 3 I will be considering. So that will be N. So I have declared here, you can see. So 3 CSMA, 3 Wi-Fi. Okay. So those many nodes will be containers. So second container, there are two containers. One first container P2P node, second container this. I have assigned those many nodes. Okay. Okay. Plus what I did, I added one P2P. So I have taken that P2P first node, I added here. Remaining 3 will be a CSMA. Now if you see here this node, it has a both point to point also CSMA. That's what I did. So if you see this one, it is having a LAN also, and it is also having point to point connection, right? It has to have both. That's why I'm just taking that node which is from point to point and then connecting to this particular. This is how we are connecting from this container to this container. Okay. Then that is about wired. So then we'll move on to the second part, this one, wireless. Okay. Wireless, how do you define wireless? So as I said, we have to add a container with respect to Wi-Fi, right? So in Wi-Fi, there are two types now. One is what? There are a station node, okay, I'll write station node and an access point. So how many station node are there in the topology? 3 and 1 access point. So this access point has both Wi-Fi and P2P, right? And these all are having only Wi-Fi, these 3 nodes, okay, in a container, that is Wi-Fi container. So how do I connect? So I created 3 nodes with Wi-Fi, right? Okay. So then I will be calling a one Wi-Fi node, that is 0. That is with a P2 node from the P2P. So that is one which here. So now I have created a new Wi-Fi container. So I added this P2 node into the Wi-Fi node itself, right? So 4 nodes are added into this. Among that, one is also P2P. Okay. So this is a 2 container. So now I created 3 containers, right? So then I have to add a channel. So for a Wi-Fi, as I said, we have to add a channel, right? So this is a channel I'm trying to create by default. So if you have a, suppose if you are EC student, if you are working at a channel level, changing a frequency or modulation, or if you are working at the different types of multiplexing, if you want to change, you have to go to this channel helper. So in that, you can modify and you can check how it is working. So by default, I'm not doing anything. I'm just taking as it is Wi-Fi channel. So where I'm mapping this Wi-Fi channel is physical layer. Okay. This physical layer, I'm setting a channel. So I created a one channel physical layer for only Wi-Fi nodes. Okay. It is only for Wi-Fi nodes. So then I taken a Wi-Fi helper. Okay. So just to mention a remote sense manager, right? So for that, I have taken a by default manager, remote sense manager. So then for a Wi-Fi helper, we have to add a MAC, right? So what MAC, why you need? So when you are communicating, we need a SSD, right? For Wi-Fi, I'm giving SSD as this. Okay. I'm just assigning some set of value. This is the second part. Okay. So now what we did, 3 containers we created and 1 channel we created for a Wi-Fi. Okay. So then after creating a channel, we have to install, right? Install devices, right? So I have taken a device controller, net device container. So new variable. So what are the things I have to combine into the device, right? So for a Wi-Fi, we need a physical MAC and Wi-Fi station node. Wi-Fi station node 3 means I'm mapping all these Wi-Fi mechanism into these 3 Wi-Fi nodes. Okay. How many station nodes are there? Only 3, right? So one is SSD, right? So one is a station. So for that station, I will be using this. That is, AP, access point. So I will be separately creating an access point for this because the way which they communicate is different, right? So I'm creating a station node and an access point. So after doing this, so this is all about setup for wireless. So what I was trying to tell is when you're doing WSN, so no need to create a CSMA device. So if you want to do only communication between these nodes, right? Okay. And one more wireless node where AP is connected. So with the help of LAN. So here if you can modify instead of same thing, you can call here and then you can do, that is another thing. So which I wanted to show, but due to time, I cannot cover. Okay. So then another thing you need to remember when you're doing Wi-Fi, mobility is important. That is supported by the NS3. So we have to call a mobility helper. Then you have to mention what is the grid size, how many nodes you can, where they have to position of the node grid. So grid size, I have given what I can say 5,10. So 00 to 510. I have given that access values, that is 00 and 510. Okay. So then after that, how do they walk a mobility? Walking mobility in the sense the way they travel, right? So they can be at different types. So 2D mobility I have given, they will go in either in a X or Y. So for that, you have to give the range, what are the mobility they can move, maximum bound. Okay, I am given here number of. So once you design this mobility, So once you assign the mobility, so I am installing mobility to where? Wi-Fi station node. So what I did, there are two nodes, right? One I created AP, right? Access point. Another one I created station, right? So in that access point will be fixed and stationary node will be moving, right? So that's why I'm installing the mobility to only this node. So this is a variable which I already deployed, right? The container, okay? This is a container for Wi-Fi stationary node, right? So that container I'm installing this, and for anyway, position for AP is constant, right? So for a mobility, for deploying a Wi-Fi mode, I'm just adding this. Okay. So once you've done that, then you have to install a internet stack for all these nodes, right? So CSMA node were 3, right? Wi-Fi AP node 1, and the station node were 3. So total this is 4. Total 8 nodes are there, right? So once you've done that, this is a setting up a first defining a node, setting up a device. So then you have to assign address, right? Base address. From there they will be changing. So base address for CSMA you have to assign separately. Base, because all will come in different masking network, right? Subnet. So this is a one subnet you have to give. So address you give 1 address. So I have given 10.1.1. So I have assigned where P2P. So when I assign P2P, so P2P means only 2 nodes, right? It will be having what? 10.1.1 and 10.1.2. So then I am taking a 10.1.2, a different subnet for setting a base to a CSMA. So CSMA interface already I created, right? Devices. So when you are assigning a base address, I am assigning it to devices, not the container. That you need to remember. Okay. This is the second part, and the last part is to connect adding address to the wireless node. So I am taking a third subnet masking 10.1.30. So this will be having 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. Those things will be having here 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. Those are address for those nodes. So it will automatically assign how many nodes are there. It will assign a subsequent IP address by taking 1, 2, 3. So just what I'm doing, I'm assigning address for both station device and AP device. So I'm just assigning it to the appropriate device container. Okay. So once you assign address, then we have to deploy echo, right? Echo model. So what I'm doing, I'm just adding a echo service. Okay. I'm taking a stationary node. So which node I'm taking here? CSMA node, NCMA. What is the value of this? 3, right? So the server will be deployed in the third node. Means server is here. If you take this topology, server would be here. Server is at 3. 3 in the sense 4th node. Okay. So server I am making echo server which will generate a data. Server which will provide. So and which will reply back the data whatever the client sent, right? So echo server will be here. That is I am deploying. The application deployment is another task which you should remember. So I will take just 5 minutes extra so that it will be. I can show one example. Is it fine, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is absolutely fine.
Yeah. So what we did first, we created a device. Then we assigned 3 containers: device container, node containers, CSMA, Wi-Fi, and point-to-point. Then what we did, we have to create a device containers for each, right? So then we did. Then third pass, we have to assign address base IP address, subnet address to the each devices. That's what I did here. P2P this, and last part is we have to run application on top of that. So I'm taking echo service only. So it is easy for mapping it. So I'm installing at a node. So CSMA node get NCSMA means 4th node in a this. Okay, N4. So where I'm deploying client, if you see here, echo client helper, I'm deploying at a NCSMA. Okay, get address of NCSMA. So client I'm deploying at a particular node. So then I'm setting attribute to the what is it? So number of packet. Now I'll change the communication packet. I will change it to 2. So 2 packet. So once you did, so you have to mention what is the client, right? So I'm installing echo client where once you setting up Wi-Fi node dot get n Wi-Fi minus 1. So n Wi-Fi is 3, right? 2. So means client is 2 in the Wi-Fi container. So Wi-Fi container is this, right? 1, 2. So this will be 0, 1, 2. This will be the content. So this I am giving as a client, and this is a server. So after device created, so I'm calling this. Okay. Once after successfully you assign, another thing you need to assign a mobility, right? So you can assign a mobility if required to the nodes. Okay. And how do you assign a mobility? That just you mention the mobility for each node, how they can move. Okay. that I think it's not there. In the case, I think somewhere mobility is already assigned, right? Yeah. So mobility where the maximum round move assigned, right? So after that, the third pass. So once you install client service on a Wi-Fi node, okay, then you need to route, right? So by how do you suppose if you are working on routing algorithm, so you can go to this particular IP4 global routing helper. So there you can modify based on the routing algorithm. Currently, for the example, I'm taking a populator routing algorithm table. So NS3 by default populator routing algorithm for whatever topology you created. So that I'm just using for communication. Okay. So then I'm saying simulation to stop, right? Just I'm undoing the changes what I made. Okay. So then you can run the simulation. Then you can, okay. So what is the stop simulation? 10 seconds I have given. Okay. So then tracing I have mentioned true now. So then this is what important thing which I wanted to tell. So how do you trace? So this is a, see, you can see I am container I have taken device container. Okay. Enable all means the P2P dot PCAP file will be having a details of both the point to point. How many are there? Only 2 are there. So then physics it is pointing to where Wi-Fi, right? So enable PCAP I am making only Wi-Fi. I'm only doing for 0 device. So this is 1 device. If you want all the wireless node, then you say enable all instead of enable PCAP. That's the one changes you need to remember. And this CSMA means Wi-Fi node. So which node I'm saying? The first node. So these are the first node. I'm just creating a packet capture. This is for a packet capture. So this is a second tool, right, to capture that. So once it is true, it will store the data all in this. You can extract with the interface. And the third one, which I was saying, right, animation. How do I see this animation? So for that, you have to call the animation where it will be stored, and you have to mention the constant position for each node, so that you can see. So anim variable takes a position. So what I have done, these are the CSMA node. I have given a position for a CSMA node. So 10, 10, 10, 30. So at a one level only, like 10 is fixed and varying with respect to Y value. So for Wi-Fi node, I am just giving it a different Y level, so that a different X level, so that we can see the mobility. So mobility will happen, right? So that I can place it. So this animator generally help you to place it on the animator. And the last part is a constant position of a node, because 3 are only movable, right? Based on the concept of wireless. Okay. Wi-Fi AP node can be used as a constant position and given. So once you designed animation, then what you can do, just you can run the simulation, you can do. So now if you see what are the things we did for designing topology. Suppose if you are only working on wireless sensor network, just create a Wi-Fi container, no need to do any other container, just map according to appropriate data. So this is all about the wireless. So those who want to do work on a wireless sensor network, so you can use this Wi-Fi model to simulate your node. Okay. Then there is an energy model where suppose if you want to do an energy model, so you can use the energy model, assign a particular energy for each node. Whenever the simulation occurs, you can decrement. So that is also one where you can map with respect to performance. That's one thing I want to. So last I will show the simulation, how it works. Third one. So just I'll check whether I made it true or not. Yeah, tracing is true and I'm making it. Just I will. So anyway, you will get a warning. Some of the node should not be a mobility. Leave out that. So here we can see what happened. So there are 1 packet sent to particular node, right? So I'll just change it to 2 packet. Where it was. Number of packets is the client side. P2P device installation. Okay. So I will make it 2 and I will make 2048 as a packet size just to do it. So I will just run once again. So here last point which I wanted to tell is how to see it in Wireshark and how to see it in NetAnim. That is, I think, another 2 minutes to take. So now you can see I gave 2 packets set. Whatever the packets communicated, that is displayed. So just to top open, just I will do ls minus l. Type ls. So now you see here, the packet capture is generated, right? This is a one which is generated for the CSMA, right? And P2P I have given all, right? So it will generate it for 2 nodes. these two files. Okay, and third one is one more I gave. It was a name, I guess. The packet capture name. Third one is given as what? Yeah. See, Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi dot. You can check Wi-Fi. Is there any Wi-Fi? Okay, CC. So one node is created. So what I'll do, I'll use Wireshark. Okay, just I'll check what is the Wi-Fi trace information is it. So packet capture. So you just pass that PCAP file. So once you enter that, it will open a Wireshark. Okay, so see, these are the broadcast it has done. So it has used a broadcast for communicating all the nodes. Okay, then you can see what type of broadcast it is taking, what is each packet type. So it's 802.11. Based on this, you can say this node is Wi-Fi, right? So this is a common Wireshark generally you do for a trace route. So just to understand, you can go here and check the IO graph. Okay, so you can see IO graph how it is communicating. So this is one thing. Another statistic you can check is flow graph. Yeah. So in the flow graph, you can see when a particular packet is communicated, how things are done. So this is a bit exploring things you have to do at this level just to understand. So similarly, you can check for wired, right? So wired, I will take CSMA. Yeah, in CSMA, when you open this, so here when you are working at the level of packet, so to observe whether the packets are effectively modified or not, that you can generally check. So it's taking some time. So let us go to the animation tool. So I was created the XML file, right, to do animation. What is the animation file which will be creating? Third.xml. Okay. So third.xml, is it there? Yes, it is here, right? Yeah. So it is. This will be used for the animation purpose. So whatever the simulation we have done. So what I will do? Where is the NetAnim involved? So NetAnim is installed in this, right? Sources. So you have to go to that NetAnim, right? So CD NetAnim to call that particular application. So I'll write NetAnim. So network. Okay. 1 second. What is the time? It's in NetAnim 3.1. Okay, sorry. You have to run, right? So you have to write /NetAnim. So once you do that, so net animation will open. So in this, you have to feed that XML file. So I'm just opening that particular file, which is there in MS3, third.xml, right? So once you open that particular in NetAnim, so now you can see, suppose if you want node size, you can give here. See, these are nodes which are Wi-Fi nodes 3, and this is a fixed position, and these are the nodes which I given as a pointer. So this is a one node which just I will run the simulation. Just you can see the mobility. You can see now so slowly they are moving. So these are the nodes which are moving is the Wi-Fi nodes. Okay, these are the constant nodes, right? This is a P2P. Okay, and again these three are connected to this node bus. Okay, if you see here, so these are Wi-Fi node, and this is the right hand side, and this is a P2P link. You can see here. So you can see what are the simulation happened, right? So mobility also you can see. This is how visualization you can see. And apart from this NetAnim, it will give a statistic. So you can go to each node. You can see what is the address of each node. Okay. So these are the things which will help you to plot the information. So just mention the timing from where to where you want. Okay. So then it will give the details. You can explore that as a graph. Okay. You can ask that as a graph in the packet. So each packet information. So this is another thing. These are the things you should use for analyzing of your any model. Yes, that's it from my side. If there are any question, let you know. Just take. Sir, Dr. Balwin, sir, it's done from my side.
Yeah.
I think last I rushed because of time. I thought of it will fit. I think so.
Thank you, Dr. Vinoppa, for your talk on WSN introduction through NS3. So you have introduced the participants about all the steps and all the details which they need to take care while working on this particular simulator for NSW3. As we discussed earlier also that it is not can be covered in detail in one session. So we'll try to cover in more detail in the upcoming sessions, but the introduction part and the flow which you have described, so anyone who is interested in working, so they get the knowledge and they can start working using this information delivered to you in this particular session.
Okay, sir. Just before winding up, just I wanted to say, I think at the first time it would be more difficult. So for the participant, at least you should take away that how do you simulate, what are the components involved in NS3. So at least remember that and try to do. So anyway, I'll share these details. You can practice this based on the step. So it's actually very easy once you understand underlying architecture, how it is working.
So those participants who are having slightly which are familiar with WSN, so this session will be going to help them in a big way. So as they are able to now recall that these are the steps which are required to be completed. So thank you very much for your time and effort. So is there any question from the participant side before we post?
Any questions? I think someone was talking. Yes, I can take some questions.
So I think the participants are not having any query related to this. So as now they are introduced to this NS3, so they can work on their own and depending upon their interest, and they can get benefited from this particular session. So thank you, Dr. Vimappa, for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the Institute and HOD and Dr. Balwin Singh for giving the opportunity to share my knowledge. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, participants. So if you have any doubts, if you're working on any concepts, just feel free to drop a mail. I'll help you in any regard with respect to NS3. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll be very happy to have you in our upcoming STCs also.
Yes, sir. So suppose if I get a full-fledged time, so I can give, I can go a bit slowly. I can take direct one interesting at a routing level also. But I thought of keeping it short. Still, it took some time. Okay, fine. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the very interesting session, sir.
Okay, thank you, one and all.